Good evening. Good evening. Welcome to the Veilman. I'm the Duke. This is somebody else. We're here to talk about episode 3 of Moonlight, which I thought was another solid episode. Did you think? You just yeah, I'm not impressed with your behavior. In fact, yeah, that's better. So yeah, another impressive episode. Possibly we have seen the first reference, the first proper kind of reference to there being a third personality of Moon Knight, possibly Jake Lockley. I think that's what I want to kick off with, a discussion about Jake Lockley. What are you laughing at?
I was trying to hold it, Manny.
You're listen, David. How many times have I told you you're not smart? You're only funny when the joke is at your expense. So don't try and step above your station.
Okay, apologies. Yeah, I'm back in my lane now.
Good.
I'm centered. I'm back in my lane. Good night, folks. Good night. Welcome. Episode 3, as the Duke just said.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm doing it again.
Very interesting because I didn't say anything at the start. You know, I was miming, frozen, stilled.
Could you just... Okay. He's annoying me. Right. You're going to behave yourself now?
Yeah, I am.
Cool. Right.
So where do we begin?
By the way, you're fired for the Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness stream.
Why?
I just feel like it.
Okay, I'm fired. Jesus.
Yeah.
Come on, folks. Get in the comments. Get me back on. Protest for me.
You're fired for that stream, but yes, Moon Knight episode 3. What did you think? Quick.
Okay, I thought it was quite interesting. I mean, it just goes back to other series such as the What Ifs, even the Avengers, when they reference, or should I say in Eternals, when they reference why, when everything was going on with Thanos, did you guys not do anything? As in, you gods didn't do anything. Same thing as in What Ifs, when you've got the Watchers like Watu, who just literally watches and don't want to interfere. And it's very strange. All these god-like creatures or beings who has incredible powers, who could actually stop a lot of suffering, seem to just want to just sit back and just watch and be like, oh no, we're not going to interfere. But not only that, but it seems like they've got this issue where if someone else interferes, one of their own interferes who doesn't want to stand around and watch, then that person gets punished. That being gets punished. And it's just like this, you know, I mean, you know, just, I know we jumped ahead when I'm jumping ahead, but just the scene when, you know, literally all the avatar for the gods gather around, and literally it's like he's there saying, well, you know, this is what's going on. And they don't want to believe him. And not only that, they're literally saying, well, as you haven't proven your case, should you do anything else, call us or do anything out of line, we're going to punish you. And again, by you punishing the person who's actually trying to make a stand or make a point that there's actually something going on, you're actually putting everyone else at a disadvantage and actually causing more damage than you are good by staying out of it, which is just quite ridiculous.
Yeah, so that was one facet. Probably not the most major facet of the episode for me personally. This is the most major thing for me. Jake Lockley. I mean, my brother, I had a chat with my brother, and he said to me, episode 3, we're going to see Jake Lockley. And he was kind of right. We have kind of seen that confirmed that there is a third personality. My brother is convinced that the last scene of episode 2 in the hotel room, well, I'm assuming it's a hotel room, I don't know what kind of room it was.
Yeah.
With I don't know, say Mark, Jake, or Stephen, but that Oscar Isaac Moon Knight being in that room with the bottle of whiskey I've just seen. My brother is convinced, and I agree with him, that was Jake Lockley who we saw in that room. It was a wonderful scene where kind of Stephen and Jake are facing off against those three guys who are linked to Arthur Harrow's weird little cult, and they're all blacking out, and suddenly they're all dead. And Mark is saying to Stephen, "What did you do?" And Stephen's like, "I didn't do anything." And Mark is like, "Well, you must have done it." And obviously, we all know that out of both of them, Stephen is the least likely to go mad and start killing people.
Yeah, go postal.
So there is quite clearly a third personality there. And that third personality is going to be Jake Lockley, as my brothers pointed out. For those who are not aware, in the comics, Jake Lockley is a taxi driver. Now, interestingly, when Mark wakes up in one of the scenes, what is he in?
He's in a taxi.
Exactly.
On his way to the airport.
Exactly. And I don't know why Jake, and again, I'm now pretty like 99% sure Jake Lockley is the third personality, but I do think it's a nice way to kind of semi-introduce him as well by like him being in a taxi, because that's what we know him from in the comics. In the comics, Jake isn't necessarily the violent one of the two, but he's kind of like, he drives his taxi around whatever city they're in the comics, and he picks up people and he gets information from them. You know, he picks up people, he asks questions, he just gets intelligence about, you know, what's the, you know, what juicy criminal type stuff is happening in the city. So that was Jake's personality, though he's not necessarily a violent and like a killer, but maybe they've just, the same way they've kind of adjusted Stephen's character a little bit, I think they've semi-adjusted Jake's character as well. I've just got a chat here. My brother thinks Jake is aware of the other two. Stephen sees Jake, but thinks that's actually really interesting. So sometimes actually Stephen might have been talking to Jake and seeing him, but hasn't actually realized it is Jake and thinks it's Mark. Additionally, I'll be interested to hear in the comments as well. I think it was Jake who asked out the girl from episode 1. It wasn't Mark. Because I think Mark is still really into Layla, and he doesn't strike me as a player type. Whereas, I think Jake asked out Layla, not Layla, the girl from the British Museum. Yep.
And then it just begs the question: how long has Jake actually been around?
He's for a long time.
As in, the same time when Mark became Stephen, is that probably around that time Jake has been around, but they've not been aware?
Yeah, so I still maintain in the comics, they don't really explain it properly in the comics either, how these different personality works. So it'll be interesting to see moving forward whether, these are all kind of figments of one, they're all kind of compartmentalizations of his brain going into different personalities, whether these are different people absorbed into this one avatar. I think it's going to be really interesting to find out, because when Arthur Harrow is talking to the gods, he kind of exposes him and says, "Oh, he's ill, like he's got all different personalities," which is that suggests, I don't know, I'm not entirely sure what that suggests, but it suggests that maybe he'd already had those different personalities before Khonshu took him over and he became Khonshu's avatar. What do you think?
Yeah, it possibly could have been a creation from, when he said, when Khonshu was basically saying in episode 1, when he was talking about when he found Mark, like, literally you were a corpse. So I'm wondering if it's then all these different, when he brought him back to life, maybe all these different personalities was also born as well.
Well, there was something like 4 architects who were killed in that dig site, so maybe they're all the different architects.
Yeah, literally, like all the psyche of all who was in that.
That was half a joke,
vicinity, basically. Yeah, who was probably there when they open his tomb, and whatever happened. Maybe they all literally was created right then.
Yep.
It was kind of like the only thing he could do in terms of, well, you know what, maybe he didn't mean to kill them, and he's like, well, the only thing I can do, since I can't bring their physical body back, is actually get their psyche in this one body that I can actually bring back. Because, you know, sometimes like in certain of these mythical beings, when they just get resurrected, they're not fully powered, which means they can't use their full power. So maybe he was only able to bring one vessel back to life, which was Mark.
Well, it's interesting. Well, we now know that Khonshu was also using Arthur Harrow as a avatar at some point. Be interesting to know the full story as to why Khonshu stopped using Arthur Harrow as his avatar. I think that'd be quite interesting to find that moving on. But I like this because what we're getting so far is they give us a bit of information, but then they give us a new question to replace it with as well. So I really like the way they're maintaining the suspense and the mystery moving forward. So if Mark has his own kind of impression of Moon Knight, his own suit when he becomes Moon Knight, and Stephen has his own kind of suit.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I wonder if actually Jake will have like his own version of Moon Knight as well. That's quite. I think that'll be quite cool to find out.
Yeah, because it seems like it's based on the armor gets created based on whatever your mindset is and your personality. So, as you know, Stephen is more diplomatic. So, you know, you basically expect someone like that to be more well dressed because he doesn't like violence, as opposed to Mark, who's more like a mercenary, you know, so he dresses like that.
Well, it's pretty obvious Jake's going to have a suit which is a bit like a taxi driver.
Or maybe like a...
No, he's going to like Robert De Niro from Taxi Driver. You know, he's just going to be going, you know...
No, you know, more
his little shirt and his little like suede jacket and his ill-fitting jeans.
Do you remember that character back in the 90s, that detective that like,
Sorry, just another comment here. Maybe Jake was the one fighting in Europe in one of the fights. Oh yeah, so actually we automatically assumed it was Mark Spector who kicked the crap out of all of those people in the European village which had the nice castle. It might have been Jake who done it, because as well, I assume that Mark can only take control when he's sleeping or when he's in a high level of stress, but we haven't seen that recently. So maybe Jake can take control of the body whenever he wants to.
Yeah, maybe there's a trigger. Like his trigger is maybe it's when them two seems to be conflicting about who's to take over.
Yep.
So when they're conflicted, like both their guards are down, so that's when he can actually slip in, take control with neither of them actually realizing.
Yeah. Yeah,
so
exactly.
Like it's like a door, like a door is open on both sides when they're both there arguing. So he can just slip through without either of them actually seeing.
I don't think it's that. I think he could just go through whenever he wants. I don't think he'd be sneaky about it. I get the impression that Jake almost now feels like he's actually the main personality. So yeah, I really like these kind of references. And as my brother says, Stephen's suit is based on suit because he had no other reference. So when it was falling, and if you're saying suit, all we could actually think about was an actual shirt and tie kind of suit, which was hilarious. Yeah. So yeah, I'm really liking this entire kind of like Jake Lockley storyline. I've got a few points I want to go through. So we have a situation where they're looking to locate the whereabouts of Amit, and this episode is essentially about who can get there first. Khonshu causes an eclipse to kind of initiate a meeting between himself and the gods, much to the chagrin of the gods as well. And we meet the gods. Mr. Cato texted me, and he has an interesting theory, which I'm going to relay, and this is his theory, so I'm going to give him all due credit for it. He said one of the gods was a black lady, which was almost kind of feline-esque with a kind of feline statue behind her. He thinks that might actually be the avatar of the god Bast, which we see in Black Panther.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I think we might.
She had that like African, that kind of like that Wakanda type. Like she looks like she could actually be a Wakanda character.
Yeah. So I think if this is true, if he is onto something, I think what we're seeing now is kind of more merging, like more prominence of gods. I think we might start seeing more kind of godly type figures. There's rumors we might even see Zeus or Hercules soon in Thor, God and Thunder. So we might start seeing more gods. There was actually a Thor story in the 80s where the Hindu gods started to beef with Thor, but they had to get cancelled because my fellow Hindus in India got a bit upset. So I don't think we'll be seeing any of them in Moon Knight, though I personally would be quite interested to see that. But yeah, so with Thor Love and Thunder coming up, we're seeing the debut of the God Butcher, who hates gods because he prayed to the gods to save his family's lives, and the gods never replied and never helped him. So he goes around killing gods. So I'm wondering if actually we're introducing all of these gods, and number two, we haven't had the trailer yet for Love and Thunder yet, because actually what we're seeing happening now with these gods is going to kind of be directly linked to something we might see or hint at the trailer.
So, I mean, is there, considering Doctor Strange is next month, when is Thor actually coming out? So I wonder if they're going to actually release the trailer before Doctor Strange is released.
I don't know. There's no word of when the trailer's going to come out. The movie should be coming out, hopefully, I think it's the end of summer, start of autumn this year. This is like, it's very rare that there's been a movie about to come out and there's been no trailer for it. So it feels like to me they're waiting for a reason that they're not releasing the trailer, and I think it's got something to do with the gods in Moon Knight. God, normally I can't shut you up and like.
No, I'm absorbing, and I'm trying to think. Because...
So I think there's a definite connection there. Yeah, it's just making me more excited. Hopefully, I'm not kind of like booking myself into a corner and kind of expecting something to happen, which actually isn't going to happen at all. And I've just written a better story than they have. But hopefully that's not the case. Did you spot the reference to Wolverine's hangout, which is already featured in Falcon and Winter Soldier? So when Layla and Mark go to visit Anton, who in the comics is known as the Midnight Man. Unfortunately, the actor who plays the Midnight Man passed away after Moon Knight was completed. He died in a skiing accident, Gaspard Ulliel. So unfortunately, I don't think we're going to be seeing much more of him, but it was a fine performance from him whilst he was there. But yeah, the Midnight Man was kind of like a baddie who used to go around stealing like precious artifacts and stuff. But when they go up there, one of Midnight Man's underlings says something about Madripoor to Layla, as if Layla like regularly visits Madripoor. I don't know if they'll just throw that in as a bit of an Easter egg, or maybe there's something more to that. But I just thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I think just in general, I think that once we do get an episode where the main focus of that episode is like Layla, I think we'll find out a lot more interesting things, because when she was having that interaction, when she was getting the fake passport, it seems like she's been doing a lot of these things for a while.
Oh, yeah, she's a mercenary herself by the looks of it.
Yeah, and it's because that lady made a comment like, your father wouldn't be happy you doing this, basically. So it seems like she has a past where she's probably done these kind of things before.
Yeah, she's a mercenary. Just like Mark.
But the father was aware of it, made her stop, and now she's gone back into it, maybe. And I'm wondering if that's when she met Mark and that whole
I'm sure they got together through their mercenary work. I'm sure they're work colleagues who fell in love. That's definitely the impression I get. But I would be really interested to see, like, has she spent time in Madripoor? Has she ever met the power broker in Madripoor? I mean, is she aware of all that stuff in Madripoor? Has she ever met Wolverine in Madripoor? All these things. I think I'd really like to know. Has she ever met Roughhouse and Bloodsport in Madripoor, who are two villains from the Wolverine comics from the 80s, who are very cool. But yeah, all these things. I mean, they're sowing so many seeds, making me think. Like, they keep on saying that Moon Knight's going to be a very enclosed story, but the more they tell this story, it's kind of like connecting dots onto other parts of the MCU.
Yeah, I think just based off the first 3 episodes, I think they have to do a second season. They'll have to do a second season. They can't.
Let's see how it finishes first before we start talking about second seasons.
Well, unless the story just takes some drastic turns over the next few episodes.
He might die. He might die. just saying. You never know. I'm saying is just not go too far into the future.
Well, I think the only way he would. Interesting. I mean, now that you made that statement, because he had the armor while Khonshu was around, but will he still have his healing armor? Remember, Khonshu said, you're wearing my healing armor. So now that he's been banished and he's now been turned to stone, will everything that comes with him also disappear as well, or what? How does it work?
We'll see. We'll find out, I guess. But I did really like when they were fighting Midnight Man, and it's Stephen who starts off the fight. One of my favorite actual moments in the entire thing. And they're stabbing up Stephen with all the pikes and stuff. And then he just says to Mark, "Oh, Mark, you take over," because it was just like it was all getting a bit too much.
Diplomacy wasn't working.
Yeah, obviously after he'd fought so hard to get control of his body back, he's just like, no, Mark, I'm done. Please just take over again. And then he kicks ass. But yeah, there was some really great acting in this by Oscar Isaac. This episode, I think, is entire tour de force by Oscar Isaac. There's a scene where he changes from Mark to Stephen, and just by he just relaxes his face, and I don't know what he does with his face. He just like relaxes a muscle and just changes his aura about it. But you could, even though you're still looking at the same actor and nothing's changed about it.
Yeah, just little nuances.
Yeah, he just manages to just change his entire demeanor to let you know that, oh, Mark's gone and now Stephen's here. I mean, it's just Oscar Isaac is literally, he's just not literally, but he is figuratively knocking it out of the park.
Oh, he is, and he has that great ability where the conflict that he's actually having is also put in, because if you look at it, the conflict between Mark and Stephen, I think, is actually putting their mission and also them at risk, because he's not able to focus and fight properly because they're so busy, which probably, like you said, that might be when Jake takes over, because he realizes that if he doesn't, in those split second when them two are conflicting, they could literally die. And if they die, he dies.
Yeah.
And that's no use. No one wants to die. I don't think any of the personality wants to die, even though, Steven just thinks he just wants control, because as far as he's concerned, he's only aware now of Mark. And contrary, he's not even aware that there's a third personality, or probably a fourth or a fifth one as well also.
Yep.
So,
I mean, in the comics, I think it does go to about 5 or 6.
Wow.
Yeah, I think they know probably for TV that might be a bit of an overload, at least this early on in Moon Knight's journey. I was just Googling. There is no talk of season 2 for Moon Knight, but Oscar Isaac has been like, well, if it's popular, I'll do it. I'm not going to say no. I'm not going to.
Yeah, of course. I mean, they all will. But again, one of the standout characters again in this is Harold.
Yep. Sorry, Jake is the one to do the dirty work. He is a taxi driver. I'm not sure what we're insinuating here about taxi drivers, but yeah, he's the one.
I don't think they're insinuating that kind
taxi
of
drivers are the ones to do the dirty work. Just ask Robert De Niro.
Yeah, but I think Harold is a very interesting character.
Oh, he's fascinating.
It's like, maybe it's just me just looking at it this way, but I believe the reason why he has the glass, because even now that we saw from episode 1, when he put the broken glass in his sandals,
shoes, yeah,
flip-flop shoes, sandal thing, he literally
his Lonsdale trainers.
Oh, jokes, yeah. Yes, the lovely old school Lonsdale Egyptian edition. But he's still got those in his shoe now.
Yeah,
even
probably.
in episode 3 when he's still walking. And then first I was thinking, why would he still have it? But I have a feeling that maybe it's penance he's paying.
Yeah, it's some form of self-flagellation. Yeah.
But I think it's probably stems from when he was the avatar for Khonshu. Probably what he may have done. Yeah, he may have done a lot of killing, and now in order to show remorse and everything for Amit, he has to basically, like in what was it? Oh my God, the Da Vinci Code. In one of the Da Vinci Codes, it is where you have like the priest who like beats themselves, they beat themselves for and that's supposed to be like a holy thing through pain. I'm wondering if it's the same kind of concept that they're actually doing, where
self-flagellation. I've just said it. I've just given you the word for it, Davian.
Yeah, there you go. That's it. Yeah, I wonder if that's what he's actually doing, based on what he's done his past.
I think he's doing that. He's for some reason he feels the need to punish himself for something he's done. We'll find out, I'm sure, because he does say to Khonshu, like, you made me do some, like, you put me through some kind of torture and stuff. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to find out exactly what Khonshu was responsible for.
But interesting, sorry, Manny, as you said that, it now makes you think that maybe when Khonshu met him, he met him on a different, as in when he took him as his avatar, he took him at a different stage in terms of like, he was probably like healthy, just came to him, took over his body, his mind, whatever. And ordered him to do stuff. Whereas when he saw that didn't work, because obviously that didn't work out well for whatever reason, he was able to repel him and reject him. When he did meet Mark, he basically kind of done a trade, as opposed to using like force to take over. He kind of done a trade like, I'll give you this, but you have to help me with that. So he kind of, like he went about the whole negotiating very differently. And I'm wondering if that stems from whatever happened, I'll give you this, between Harrow and himself, in terms of what he actually done. And obviously, so maybe if you actually were to do it that way, it's one of those ones where they can actually reject you. But whereas if you make a contract with him, he can't really back out of it, because he knows, well, if I back out, I'm going to be back in the same position that he found me, which is I was a corpse. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But either way, so far, 3 episodes down, it just keeps getting better and better.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It does go from strength to strength. I really enjoyed the last scene where they're trying to work out where Amit's oh, cheers, Maddie. It's great. Cheers. But they're trying to work out where Amit's tomb is, and they do the entire thing with the star constellations. And it's weird because it's quite controversial, but somebody kind of thinks that there are some people out there who think that the entire Egyptian pyramids and stuff kind of comes from like constellations, and they're mapped out via constellations, and it's actually quite an unpopular theory in Egyptology to suggest that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought that was quite cool. And I'm playing drums around here. Somebody playing drums around you, David?
Considering I live by myself, I'd be very worried if someone's playing drums and it's not me, because I'm sitting right here.
Yeah, I don't know who this Manny guy is, but he said you suck. It's a bit harsh, but
yeah, it must be one of those
must be one of those bots again.
Yeah, like last week, eh?
Yeah, must be one of those bots. But yeah, and visually, I loved it when Khonshu kind of actually says, "Oh, I will change because the way the Earth moves on its axis, sorry, like, and the way it rotates around the sun, where we see the stars changes over time.
Yeah,
constellations are over time will change, and how we see them in the sky." And oh God, it was a beautiful. Visually, it was stunning the way Khonshu then like reverses the sky, so it looks like.
Yeah, so it's kind of like he
4,000 years ago.
Yeah, like he reversed time. And then it made me think, so if he was able to do that, why weren't he able to, like, when he was in the tomb with the other gods, why weren't he not able to reverse time to show them all the behavior and all the issues with Harrow, to show that, yeah, he is trying to resurrect Amit?
Because, David, as a writer, it would be too easy to do that, and it wouldn't tell a very interesting story.
True, I guess so.
So it's best just to say this is what he can do, but it's interesting. I've heard some people on Twitter say he has actually literally, within that time period, reversed where the Earth is, which is a lot of power. I mean, I hope he's just done it for like a visualization, but to actually do that to that extent, that would be awesome. But yeah, the last thing we see is essentially the gods saying to Khonshu, "I've had enough of you. Yeah, we're gonna tether you now in stone."
Yeah, but even that, when I saw that, I was like, that's a bit harsh. It's not like, he had warnings after warnings. Literally, he just came and he just said to them, listen, he's trying to resurrect
I think
we need to stop. And then they were like, okay, no, you didn't have proof. That's it. Don't you do anything else again. You call. So basically, he was on his last warning just by him summoning them, basically requesting an audience with them.
Yeah. They don't take any rubbish. The ancient gods.
So even speaking to them, requesting an audience with them is punishable by imprisonment.
He knew not to interfere anymore, and he's still doing it. So
but no, I'm not saying forget the interfering, but just by him, trying to summon them for an audience with them, he got told off, literally, why are you calling us type of thing or whatever. He literally was saying he could actually be imprisoned just for that. So I mean, so they just want to watch, and you can't even have a conversation with them to say, listen, this is going on, that's going on. If you're going to have a conversation with them, you need to have all your ducks lined up and have all the evidence to say, this is exactly what's going on. I mean, what he should have done, especially in this day and age, the fact that she was able to use the iPad to, take photos of the consulates in the sky, what he should have done was use same phone, technological devices and start videoing, Harold doing certain things to show that, look, see, they are trying to resurrect Amit. Look, you don't believe my word? Here you go. Bring out the iPhone, show him, and play the video back or whatever. And then
that would make for an awful TV program. It would be over by episode 1. This is why you will never be a TV writer.
Well, they can't just.
No, that's enough. Thank you. Oh, cheers, man. Yeah, I like these glasses too.
Well, that Manny guy is really a fan of the Duke, ain't he?
Yeah, I mean he doesn't like you, but
it sounds like a stan.
It is what it is. It is what it is. So I'm looking forward to next week because I like it because we're going to get an answer, probably an answer about Jake Lockley, but we're going to get a new mystery as well. So there's 6 episodes in this series, so we're officially now past the halfway mark. So yeah, it's exciting times. I think we've pretty much covered all the major talking points. Anything else you want to cover quickly before we? Khonshu doesn't have an iPad or a tape recorder, though. Yeah, and he probably wouldn't know how to work one either, David. Do you reckon Khonshu's got his own login where it says Khonshu@hotmail.com and he logs into his Google account with his and he always breaks his iPads because he's trying to use big skimtar thing to
Yeah, Khonshu is just there, when people travel and they put all their damn location on their Facebook, touchdown in Dubai, you got Khonshu, touchdown in Egypt, out here looking at the stars, where to go for lunch.
So that's not going to happen. But yeah, what do you expect to happen in the next episode?
I think just like in the first 2 episodes, where the first episode we didn't know what was going on, but by episode 2 we got to actually meet Mark, so we know, okay, this is what's going on. So I think in episode 4 we'll either get to see a little bit more with Layla, or we'll actually we'll now get to actually see, I think maybe Jake will actually come forward.
Yeah, I think we're going to see Jake. I think
in the sense, when I say come forward, I think in the sense now that Khonshu has been imprisoned, it's now vital that someone basically get them to focus. And I think he might come and now say, listen, this is what's really going to happen, because without him, you can't really rely on them two, because them two still fighting over who should take control of the body and how they go about doing things.
Yeah. It is what it is. Yeah. So I am looking forward to it, and I'm actually hoping that all these little references to other parts of the MCU are going to actually mean something. Hoping the Bast thing means something. I'm hoping all this stuff with the gods means something. I'm hoping the Madripoor reference means something. yeah, I'm a man full of hope that we might even see Moon Knight, Oscar Isaac pop up in the Blade movie coming up. Just keep him the hell away from Morbius. Right. I think it's actually been quite a short episode, but a good episode. I think we managed to keep everything good and, you know,
Yeah, we covered it.
yeah, keep everything, just brief and but concise.
But you know what? Just a quick thing before we go. It's quite. I don't know if it's a good thing or if it's really bad on their part, but the fact that the writing for this in just these 3 episodes was actually better. Well, in each episode, and the episodes are just like what 40, yeah, about 35, 40 minutes each episode.
This episode was 50 minutes long.
Yeah, like as in, but still under an hour, and yet still the writing was so much better than that of Morbius, which is absolutely like
it's a different studio writing it, which is speaks volumes. And the Disney stuff, Kevin Feige, is keeping he's keeping tight control over everything, and I'm sure everything has to go through him before anything is signed off, to make sure that it all kind of sticks with that soul storyline or the soul story.
Because it seems like it's all leading to something.
Yep. It's been said that the last episodes are going to be very dark. Now, I don't think they mean dark visually. I think they mean, it's going to be, it could be a slightly tough watch. That kind of dark, which I'm looking forward to. I think we're probably going to find out more about their histories and whatnot, and what really happened to some of them. So
what happened to those who died in that expedition? On those bodies. I think we might see something like that. Probably, I think we will, and I think that's probably going to be episode 5. I think next week, episode 4, will more be about me and Jake.
Yeah, absolutely. But we might find out what some of the latest history. You might find out some of Arthur Harrow's history. Why is that so dark? Mr. Cato said to me as well that even though in the comics, Stephen Grant is rich in the comics, he may not be rich in these episodes of Moon Knight, but he is rich in knowledge. He does have an amazing knowledge of Egyptology. And someone on Twitter, even was it Twitter? No, it was New Rockstars. Sorry, on a video, found that amongst his book collection, he's got books about Wakanda, and he's got books about Asgard as well. So he does seem to have an interest in mythology in general, which I think does link on to potentially us seeing more gods in the MCU moving forward. I think Moon Knight could be the thing that connects all these different godly realms together. Right, we are done, sir. Say goodbye to the nice people.
Bye, nice people.